Hello again, I'm Florina, and welcome back to a new episode from IELTS Target Bands. Today we'll be talking about Band 6 and how to achieve Band 6 in the writing test. So we're going to start with task achievement, which is used for assessing task 1. Let's see what the band descriptor says. Um, it says that the candidate addresses the requirements of the task. For academic, presents an overview with information appropriately selected, and for general training, presents a purpose that is generally clear, but there may be inconsistencies in tone. For both academic and general training, presents and adequately highlights key features or bullet points, but details may be irrelevant, inappropriate, or inaccurate. What does it mean? It means that the writing covers all the main points and includes necessary details. So, in order for you to get the band 6 in task achievement, you need to have all parts of the letter, of the report, and of the essay. Introduction, body paragraphs, conclusion. Introduction, overview, main body paragraphs. And for the letter, introduction, body paragraphs, conclusion. The writing makes a connection between details and the overall view. This is what you need to have. The level of formality may be wrong sometimes, and some information may be unnecessary or wrong. However, you're good to go. You can still get band 6. For task response, which is used for assessing task 2, the band descriptor goes like this: addresses all part of the task, although some parts may be more fully covered than others. Presents a relevant position, although the conclusion may become unclear or repetitive. Presents relevant main ideas, but some may be inadequately developed or unclear. What does it mean? It means that the writing covers all the points raised in the question, but certain points may be dealt with in more detail than others. For example, maybe the body paragraphs are more detailed and you haven't dealt with the conclusion, or maybe only one main body paragraph is more developed and the other one doesn't have, let's say, a topic sentence or doesn't have a very concrete example. Um, the candidate's argument are clear, but as I said, the conclusion might not be, or the conclusion may be repeated. Maybe you have said the same thing as in the introduction, but you didn't use any paraphrasing. And some points might be presented but not developed. It means that maybe you have briefly presented one idea, but you haven't explained it and you haven't supported with examples. Moving on to coherence and cohesion, the band descriptor goes like this: arranges information and ideas coherently, and there is a clear overall progression. Uses cohesive devices effectively, but cohesion within and or between sentences may be faulty or mechanical. May not always use referencing, clearing, or appropriately. And for task 2, for the essay, uses paragraphing, but not always logically. What does it mean? It means that paragraphing is reasonable and paragraphs are connected. Connectives are used reasonably well, but there may be mistakes, or maybe connectives may be used repetitively, or maybe you haven't used the correct connective to go from one idea to another. And here you're not repeating yourself, you're starting to use referencing words such as it, they, or this, but there might be some mistakes. And usually the mistakes are with the pronoun it. If you're a Romanian learner, it doesn't exist in Romanian. It might cause some um, it might cause some problems. Moving on to lexical resource, the band descriptor goes like this: uses an adequate range of vocabulary for the task, attempts to use less common vocabulary but with some inaccuracy, makes some errors in spelling and or word formation, but they do not impede communication. What does that mean? It means that you have a basic vocabulary which is reasonable, and you're using, well, a few words and a few phrases less which are less common. Perhaps maybe you're using some collocations incorrectly. There might be spelling mistakes, but again, these do not cause any communication problems. Moving on to grammatical range and accuracy, the band descriptor goes like this: uses a mix of simple and complex sentence forms, makes some errors in grammar and punctuation, but they rarely reduce communication. It means that you mix simple structures and complex structures. Again, complex structure are those containing clauses or conditional sentences. You're not making too many grammar mistakes. And if you do make mistakes, they don't have a big impact on communication. There may be minor mistakes, maybe with more complex structures. And in terms of punctuation, there may be minor punctuation problems, but again, they don't impede communication. So, to summarize, what do I do to get band 6? First of all, make sure that you answer all aspects of the question. Make sure that the purpose of your writing is clear, especially if you have to deal with a certain type of essay, advantage, disadvantage. Make sure you write about both of them, or discussion or opinion essay. Try to include relevant details and to develop points where necessary. Make sure that the organization and paragraphing are reasonable. Try to use as large a variety of connectives as you can, but again, avoid repeating them and avoid making mistakes with them. Make sure you have enough vocabulary to make points and develop those points with some details. Use referencing words as often as you can. You may also attempt to use less common vocabulary if you wish, but make sure that you write it understandable. You can use here a mix of simple and complex structures, and don't worry about making some grammatical errors as long as they don't affect the meaning of your sentences. And here we have the question, the dilemma, but I need to get band 6.5. Well, in order to get band 6.5, you need to achieve band 7 in one of the four criteria. And this is probably easiest to achieve in task achievement or task response, coherence and cohesion, or lexical resource. Vocabulary is easier to acquire than grammar. In grammar, you need a lot of practice. I mean, you do need a lot of exposure and practice with vocabulary, but sometimes you can pick it up naturally if you're watching, I don't know, videos with subtitles, if you listen to podcasts or if you watch tutorials. With grammar, it's a little bit more complicated. And that would be all about how to get band 6 in the writing test. We'll be moving on to the last and final episode, which is band 7. Thank you very much for listening. If you found this useful, let me know with a thumbs up or a comment. And make sure to subscribe to my channel, because the last one is the best one. I mean, everybody wants to get band 7, especially in writing. Take care of yourselves and hope to see as many of you next time. Bye bye.